There comes a time in almost every person's life when they start to feel something is missing. It's not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it feels like a quiet emptiness that sneaks in when the world around you is silent. After work, after dinner, after the small talk and scrolling are done. It shows up as a question you can't quite put into words, a kind of ache you carry deep inside your chest. You look around and realize you've done what was expected. You followed the rules, checked the boxes, played the roles. But still, something feels off, like a part of you got left behind somewhere. Something important, something real. For many men, this shows up as numbness, not sadness, not anger, just nothing. On paper, everything might look fine. Maybe they've got the job, the house, the family. But inside, they feel disconnected. They don't feel like themselves, though they're not sure who that self even is anymore. There's a heaviness in their shoulders, a tension in their jaw, a frustration they can't explain. They want to feel alive again, but they don't know where to start. For women, it often shows up in a different way. There's a kind of quiet grief, a deep sense of being unseen or unheard, a feeling that no matter how much they do, how kind or helpful or beautiful they are, something still doesn't feel right. There's a tiredness that sleep can't fix, a part of them that feels like it's been silenced, like their fire has been dimmed to keep the peace, to be liked, to be safe. And deep down, they know they weren't always like this. There was a time they felt free, wild, full of life. But somewhere along the way, they lost touch with that version of themselves. It didn't happen all at once. It happened slowly. A comment here, a rule there, a quiet message repeated 1,000 times. Be good, be strong, be quiet, be nice, don't cry, don't shout, don't want too much, don't be too much. And so we learned to shrink, to hide parts of ourselves, to play the part the world told us to play. We became experts at fitting in, surviving, staying safe. But in the process, we forgot something essential, who we truly are underneath it all. If this message is already stirring something inside you, don't let it pass. Subscribe to the Soul Evolver now and turn on notifications, because we go deeper with every video, and I don't want you to miss a single step of this journey back to your truest self. Deep inside each of us, there are older parts of us that don't care about social rules or expectations. Parts that were never meant to be controlled or silenced. Parts that still remember what it feels like to be free. These parts don't only live in our minds. They live in our guts, in our hearts, in our bones. They show up in the dreams we can't explain, the emotions we don't understand, the strange longing we feel even when life looks good on the outside. They are the parts of us that are wild, instinctive, powerful, and alive. These parts are what some call archetypes. That's just a fancy word for the basic energies or patterns that exist in all people, no matter where they come from. Every culture, every time period, every story we tell has some elements of these archetypes. They are the king, the warrior, the lover, the healer, the mother, the wild woman, and the trickster. They are not roles we play. They are deep parts of the human spirit that live inside each of us, waiting to be seen, heard, and expressed. But here's the thing. When we don't know about these parts, or we ignore them, they don't disappear. They don't go away. They just find other ways to get our attention. And often, those ways don't look healthy. The man who doesn't connect with his inner warrior might find himself constantly angry or completely passive, never standing up for himself or the people he loves. The woman who has buried her wild woman might feel numb, depressed, or trapped in a life that looks fine but feels empty. These aren't flaws, they're signals. The world we live in doesn't teach us how to stay connected to these deeper parts of ourselves. In fact, it does the opposite. It teaches us to perform, to compare, to doubt ourselves, to chase approval. From a young age, we're told what success looks like, how to behave, what's acceptable, and anything that feels too emotional, too powerful, too real, gets pushed aside. We're told it's dangerous, unpredictable, weak, and so we learn to hide. But here's the truth. These parts of us are not the problem. Forgetting them is. The man who feels lost is not broken. He's just been disconnected from the version of himself that knows how to lead with strength and compassion. The version that knows how to fight for what matters, not with violence, but with courage and clarity. The version that brings out his realest and truest potential. The woman who feels unseen is not weak. She's just been taught to fear the part of herself that's too bold, too passionate, too alive. The version of her that laughs loudly, dances freely, cries deeply, and loves without apology. The part that knows her worth without needing permission. If you stood in front of a mirror and asked, "Who am I really?" how would you answer? Not your job title, not your relationship status, not your age, your achievements, or your list of responsibilities. Strip all of that away, and what's left? For many people, the answer comes slowly, if at all. There's often a long pause, a hesitation, a kind of awkward silence in the soul. Because in truth, most of us have never been taught how to know ourselves beyond the roles we've been given. We've been trained to be useful, to be liked, to be successful, to be productive. But rarely are we encouraged to become whole. The wild man and the wild woman are not myths. They're not characters from history or ancient tales. They are living, breathing energies inside every human being, whether we recognize them or not. They are the instincts we've buried, the passions we've quieted, the strength we've doubted, and the wisdom we've forgotten. And most importantly, they are not separate from us. They are us, just waiting to be remembered. But let's be honest, the world does not make it easy. From a young age, we are taught how to fit in. We're told how to behave, what to say, what not to say. We learn how to earn praise, avoid trouble, and meet expectations. Somewhere along the line, we stop asking ourselves who we truly are and start asking, who do I need to be to feel safe, to be accepted, to be loved? We create versions of ourselves designed to be approved of. Versions that are polite, reliable, successful, agreeable. We push down the parts that feel too wild, too emotional, too intense, too strange. Not because we're weak, but because we're trying to survive. But no matter how well we play the game, a part of us knows something's missing. If you're still here, really listening, that means something. It means this speaks to a part of you that maybe doesn't get spoken to often. If it's hitting home, give the video a like so others can find it too. And if it feels right, go ahead and subscribe. There's more of this ahead, and I'd love to have you here for it. The wild man isn't a brute. He's not violent or reckless. He's not angry for the sake of anger. He is the part of a man that remembers what it means to live with strength that protects rather than dominates. He remembers the value of solitude, of working with his hands, of moving through the world with purpose instead of performance. He is tired of pretending to be fine, pretending to be in control, pretending he doesn't feel anything. His wildness is not chaos, it's clarity. He longs not to destroy but to return to what's real, to what matters, to what feels alive. And the wild woman, she is not unhinged. She is not hysterical or dramatic. She is not something to be managed or tamed. She is the part of a woman that remembers what it feels like to be connected to her body, to her intuition, to the rhythm of the earth itself. She is tired of shrinking, tired of playing small to make others comfortable, tired of smiling when she wants to scream. So many of us have lost touch with these parts, not because we are broken, but because the world has been loud in telling us to forget. We live in a time where performance is rewarded more than presence, where showing up perfectly matters more than showing up honestly, where we measure success by how busy we are and define worth by how much we make. When a man disconnects from his wild man, he becomes either too hard or too soft. He becomes either rigid and unfeeling, trying to control everything and everyone around him, or he becomes passive, unsure of his place in the world, afraid to take up space. When a woman disconnects from her wild woman, she starts to forget her own voice. She doubts her knowing. She becomes either too much for some or not enough for herself. She may say yes when she means no. She may smile when she wants to cry. She may take care of everyone else and forget that she deserves to be cared for too. Over time, her joy feels distant. Her body feels like a stranger. This is not a personal failure. This is a cultural epidemic. We are being forced to conform to the norms of the world. We were not raised to honor these parts of ourselves. We were not taught how to listen to our own truth. And so we wander, half alive, pretending, performing, enduring. To reconnect with the wild man or wild woman inside you does not require you to leave your life behind. It does not ask you to throw everything away or become someone new. It simply asks you to come home to the parts of you that never stopped longing to be seen. It starts with honesty, with allowing yourself to feel what you feel, with noticing the parts of your life where you feel small, silenced, or numb, with asking hard questions like, when did I stop trusting myself? When did I stop expressing myself? When did I start apologizing for who I am? It continues with permission, giving yourself permission to want more, to feel more, to speak more, to rest, to play, to rage, to create, to feel the ground beneath your feet and remember that you are allowed to take up space, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, energetically. And eventually, it leads to embodiment, to living in a way that reflects who you really are, to moving through the world not with a mask, but with a presence that says, I remember now. I remember who I was before I was told who to be. The wild man and the wild woman are not outside of you. You don't have to go find them in a forest or in a book. You simply have to stop running from the truth you already carry. They are in the way your heart beats faster when something feels real, in the tears you hold back, in the dreams you don't speak aloud, in the anger that rises when you're crossed, in the joy that bubbles up when you let go. The answer isn't loud. It doesn't come with fanfare or ceremony. It comes gently, often in the smallest ways, through choices, through presence, through the way you begin to show up for yourself. Because remembering the wild man and the wild woman is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a different kind of life. And that is what integration truly means. Not becoming someone else, not rejecting the world around you, but weaving what you've reclaimed into the fabric of your ordinary days. The wild man and wild woman don't ask you to abandon your job or your family or your routines. They ask you to return to them with your full self intact, to stop splitting your soul between who you are and who you think you have to be. To no longer live as a ghost in your own life. But make no mistake, this is not a path without resistance. You will encounter people who like the older version of you better, the quieter you, the more agreeable you, the one who didn't speak up, didn't challenge, didn't shine too brightly. They may not know what to do with the you that has come alive. They may call you selfish, too intense, too sensitive. Their discomfort is not your burden to carry. You are not responsible for managing the emotions of those who preferred you asleep. This is your life. This is your becoming. And the people meant to walk with you will not be threatened by your fullness. They will be inspired by it. They will rise with you. And even in loneliness, there is something sacred. And in that space, between the courage to change and the pain of letting go, you start to build a new kind of life. Not a perfect one. Not one without fear or doubt or failure, but a life that is yours. Authentically, unapologetically, messily yours. This is how the wild man and wild woman live, not in fantasies or escape, but in the small, defiant acts of truth, in the way you get out of bed when it's hard, in the way you choose to stay when it's easier to run, in the way you begin again when you feel like quitting, in the way you laugh with your whole chest, in the way you weep without shame, in the way you walk through the world not as someone performing a role, but as someone who has come home to their own soul. You've made it all the way here with me, and I don't take that lightly. If this felt honest, if it reminded you of something you'd almost forgotten, then stick around, hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and let's keep showing up for ourselves. One real, messy, beautiful truth at a time. And so, integration is not an ending. It is a return to the ground beneath your feet, a return to your voice, your body, your truth, a return to the wholeness that was never lost, only forgotten. Until next time, keep evolving.